Follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and listen live 24/7 at linewsradio.com.
'Tis the season to be ready. It's all part of our Spotlight segment on Long Island this morning. Be ready for storms. How to do so? Maybe have a generator handy. It's the focus of this morning's discussion in our business spotlight. Always great to see him, Frank Navetta, President, PowerPro Generators. And they're right here, folks, in Bohemia on Johnson Avenue. Frank, great to see you again.
Good morning, Jay. Thanks for having me back on station.
Now, you know, when you think about this period of time, there's not a lot going on at PowerPro these days. You know, Frank has got his feet up on the desk, nothing really to do, and of course I'm kidding, because it's never been busier for Frank Navetta these days. I mean, when you think about the season we're in, those folks of what they're going through down in Florida and Texas, and what's soon to be the islands in Puerto Rico. I mean, Frank, to have a generator is like finding the golden nugget. Right? I mean, pretty much.
You know, exactly, Jay. It's been over the top for the last 3 or 4 weeks. As soon as there was an awareness of even Harvey moving into Texas, we started to get phone calls from people looking to service their generators. They may not have been on the program yet to purchase one, but they was there. The mindset was maybe we need to be prepared. And so we started to get it. We ticked off a lot of calls for doing maintenance and servicing generators.
Now, you were telling me off the air down in Florida, one of your colleagues was down there during the eye of the storm. Ben, who happens to be here, and Ben witnessed a lot of people kind of looking at their generators in the street saying, you know, hey, something's wrong here. I mean, the time to look at your generator is maybe before hurricane season starts in full. I mean, that's amazing. If you live in Florida, some of those areas, how are you not fully prepared? Is that baffling?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, human nature is that we are reactive and not proactive. And we could talk about that all day long, but at the end of the day, yes, Ben, he's my business development manager. He went down to Florida on vacation, and he got caught in the middle of the storm. And he said to me, by text, he said, all my neighbors are outside in their driveways and on their front lawns trying to get their gasoline generator sets to work.
Right.
They hadn't probably used them in 2-3 years, and that's a kiss of death with a gasoline generator. It's amazing how sometimes you wait till the last minute and you should not.
Now, you've got 40 plus years of the business. You've seen storms galore. You know, you go back to what we saw in Harvey and Irma, back to back, Cat 5s. You saw yesterday with Maria. We have Jose. Fortunately, just a glancing blow here in the island. Glancing. We still saw some flooding in some of those areas. But, I mean, have you ever seen anything like this? In 40 plus years, you've seen it all. You ever seen anything like this in the last couple of months?
No, and you hit the hot spots of all the storms that were really important to us and those that we needed to have paid attention to. Of course, Sandy was the one that turned the corner for most of us up here, and then the awareness became heightened. And even Jose, until the very last minute, no one knew where that was going. What about Maria? You know, did Jose pave the way for Maria? We won't know. We would all like the meteorologists to be more on point, but I get it. It's kind of hard to predict Mother Nature. But no, I have not seen this, especially this particular year. I have not seen this in the last 40 years. I can tell you that I learned my lesson from Sandy.
Yeah.
When Sandy hit. I said, well, maybe we need to purchase some more generator sets because it's going to be busy. Well, that was too late. So we couldn't get generator sets for 3 months. So when Harvey hit Texas, I said, well, okay, well, this is maybe the knock on the door, and I ordered truckloads of generators, and we have been selling them, and we still have a very, very good inventory of generators, and that was a very proactive move on our part, but we learned.
And you know, preparation is the key. And you know what baffles me even more is, you know, when you look at the NHC, National Hurricane Center, I mean, they came out, what, 3 months ago, pretty much, stating that this was going to be one of the more active seasons, hurricane-wise, in the history of predicting weather, pretty much. And to not be prepared, if you're in some of those areas, to not really be prepared, and quite frankly, if you're here on the island, we're coming up to the 5-year anniversary of Sandy, right? October 29th will be the 5-year anniversary. I mean, if you're not fully prepared in your mind, then you're crazy.
You
right?
need to do
Nuts.
something. You really need to do something or pay attention, or at least have a plan, a game plan. You can't begin to think about it when the hurricane's knocking on your door. And what's the plan? The plan is hurry up and rush out and buy a gasoline generator. That seems to be the plan. You couldn't buy one now, no matter how much money you had.
Right.
All the inventory is gone. Most of the manufacturers switched production from all other products to gasoline to accommodate those people that are hurting really bad. But if I could take a moment and just make sure people understand when they purchase a gasoline generator set, it is not a plug and play or a pull and play.
Yeah.
It needs a lot of education, and what we find many times when people come to us to purchase a totally installed hardwired generator, there's a gasoline generator sitting in the garage in the corner, and he's been through the effort and aggravation of trying to get this to work when it's supposed to work.
Yeah, and that's key right here. So in essence, folks, here's the best advice. Don't wait until the next one hits us. You know, that's why you have to call PowerPro, and they'll help you. They'll help you protect your home, your family. Listen, backup generator, the whole 9 yards. PowerPro, 567-2700, 631 area code. Check it out, PowerProGenerators.com. Now let's keep in mind also, this is what, 21st of September. We still have a couple of months, 2.5 months.
It's 2.5 months left
In this season. So, you know, who knows what's gonna, happen in the Atlantic. You know, we saw last week three hurricanes in one shot, in the incubator over there.
Yes.
And, we've had a whole bunch of experts on with this, Frank. And the reason why it is such an intense season right now is the water temperature is really the fuel for these storms. It is a sultry 87, 88 degrees at certain points.
It will be all this week.
So in essence,
That's right.
you could have more brewing here
Yes.
in the next couple of months. And that's why preparation is so key here, to make sure that you are protected. That's really the best advice there, right?
Correct. So if you are considering a generator set for your home,
Yeah.
you need to be aware of the time frame that it takes. We get emails and text messages and phone calls on a Monday, and people want generator sets installed by the end of the week.
Yeah.
It's a very, very long process, and part of the process starts with obviously sizing the generator set for the house, getting the permits, and permits can take anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks to get a permit. It does not mean that permit is approved on the first go around. The towns are very, very strict in where you can place the generator, so we need to address those. And we have people in-house that have that pretty much in hand, but it still needs to go through the process. Then the gas needs to be installed, whether it gets hooked up to your natural gas meter or you bring in an LP tank. And then we need to bring in the electrician or our electrician to do the installation. So the process takes a decent amount of time. It is not a hurry-up program.
Permits, placement, everything. Anybody who knows Long Island and trying to get things done, and you get approvals and everything else, we know that it is a process.
Yes.
So it's not like, okay, we got a storm brewing next week, let me go get a generator, here we go. Okay, not the case.
And what we find after a storm, or we didn't really have one that was noteworthy this time around, but we do have people that put them in the way they put them in, and then we come back later on
And you have to fix it.
and fix it.
Yeah.
And sometimes they get themselves in trouble because they're not installed.
And why? Because PowerPro's the best in the business. And you look at Frank, he's got 40 years plus in the business. That tells you right then and there. You want an experienced company and a guy to do it. And it just so happens that PowerPro is, we've said this, even when Frank's not here, they're the largest residential generator company on Long Island. They offer more brands than any other company. So what does that tell you right then and there? So that's very important. It's a process. Make sure that you get it done the right way as far as the installation time and everything else. Let's talk about some of the benefits, high tech and everything else. The last time you were here, I remember, something that really cemented in my head was you monitor this stuff, right? You monitor this stuff from your offices, so you can actually give people some tips on what they have, what they need to have here.
Yeah, I mean, if you break down the words, there's an emergency backup generator. Emergency means that it's needed when there's an emergency. So if it's not being monitored or maintained on a regular basis, the reliability of its emergency nature is mute. So yes, we have monitoring programs that are extremely popular where we install a device on your generator. It's hooked up to your internet or your phone line, and we watch it in our office for you 24/7.
So you can't beat that. That's for sure. I mean, that is just amazing stuff. So there's so many benefits here with PowerPro. Now, a lot of people say, about the cost and everything else, but let's face it, every big time item, there's attached a price tag to it. And with that, you have plans. There's financial plans when you get an item of this nature. And generators are no different, correct?
No different. Just about every generator manufacturer, including other outside financing firms like Wells Fargo, for instance, they all have financing plans for generators. Generator sets are well known. It's not a mystery item, and they look forward to financing them. We can install a generator set in your home for financing plans that are less than $100 a month. And that's a totally automatic standby generator set that will run your entire home.
That's pretty good.
It's not bad.
Less than what?
Less than $100.
That's ridiculous. That's crazy.
Yes.
It really is.
Yeah.
Frank Navetta here, PowerPro Generators. He runs the show there. He's got 40 years plus. They're right on Johnson Avenue, Bohemia, 567-2700, PowerProGenerators.com. And besides all the financing and everything else, there's maintenance attached to this as well. You got some of the best service guys in the business. They'll handle all this stuff. People have problems with everything from an appliance left and right. You guys provide it right from the source itself, correct?
Absolutely. We have at least 8 service technicians on the road. All of them are factory trained. It's a continuous program for us. We send them all over the U.S. to get training. We do a lot of in-service training. We need to make sure that when we come to maintain your machine, we know what we're doing and it works properly when we leave. So yes, it's a big part of what you need to do. I can tell you that generator sets that are maintained work, and they last a whole lot longer than those that are not.
There you go. So in essence, at this point in time, we have stated 2.5 months still to go in the season. So if one is listening to this, theoretically, how fast can they get a generator?
I would say probably the fastest we've installed one time from beginning to end, maybe 4 weeks.
That's not bad.
I'd say 4 weeks.
That's not bad.
But thinking about the fact that we may see Maria here in 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, in some sort of way, right?
Yeah.
I mean, listen, we hope it's more of the Jose nature.
Yes.
Where we get a little bit of a touch here and there, some floodings. But quite frankly, who's to know the tracking of these things?
You don't know. So you need to be a little bit proactive. If you have a desire to purchase a generator, please call us. We can walk you through the process. And we can talk to you about financing, we can talk to you about delivery, we can make sure your generator is installed in accordance to town codes and local NEC codes. So when the time comes, if you ever need to move from your home, and this happens on a regular basis, we find that the generator sets have not been installed properly, and that stops the sale process. You have to go through variants, and there's a lot of problems with that. When you work with us, we make sure that you do not run into those problems.
That's unbelievable. So in essence, 4 weeks is not bad, but in reality, I'm thinking probably the best, when is the best time where one should really think, is it February, is it March? I mean, when is the best time when you start the year, and we still have to go through winter, by the way, so you never know what happens in winter. We have storms in winter too here. We've seen blizzards knock out power. We have seen that in the past. People, the crews and everything else, they've done a tremendous job though the last couple of storms. But when is the right time where people should start the year and think about, what, I'm getting a generator this year, I'm not taking any chances? What do you recommend? We
find that late winter, spring is probably the best time for a number of reasons. We're not dealing with the winter months. If we have to do an install and there's 3 feet of snow on the ground, that's always been a problem. We've been prevented from doing deliveries a number of times because we just couldn't get to the delivery site. And on top of that, that seems to be the time when most of the manufacturers pay attention to their pricing and are starting to look to move product. So in spring and even early summer, many of the manufacturers have promotions, and we partake in all of the promotions. So it's not unusual to save 10% off the price of an entire purchase because the manufacturers are looking to start to move product as quickly as they can to be ready for the new product series at the end of the year.
Right.
So I would have to say probably spring would be the best time.
Spring.
Yeah.
So somebody like you know, March is like an ideal month, I would think.
Yeah, that's good.
To really start thinking seriously about the generator. So that is key. And of course, you know, let's face it, it's planned out perfectly for you with the financial plans and everything else. You get the maintenance and everything to go by here. And no better experienced guy in the business than Frank Navetta here. PowerPro, again, the largest residential generator company on the island. They offer more brands than any other company. Speaking of that, last one from me here, Frank, before we call it, and that is, you know, I always ask you this about technology coming down the pike and everything else. You've been in the business a long time. You've seen it all here. Do you foresee even more technology coming into the field of generators to make it a lot easier for folks?
No, yeah, absolutely. We had a few meetings in the last couple of weeks with some of the manufacturers that we represent, and they are offering more product to make the installation process quicker and simpler, using technology that is less expensive and more cost effective. So yes, you know, and we went back 15 years ago. I installed a 12 kilowatt generator set for about $12,000, and that was the going rate for that type of a product 15 years ago. We're doing that same package today for about $10,500, and for a 20 kilowatt generator. So technology has driven the price, the cost down. So years have passed, the product is larger, and the cost is less. And that's all because of a function of technology, especially if you include load management. Previously, you need a bigger generator set to do a big job. Now you can use a smaller generator set to do the same job. You mentioned remote monitoring.
Yeah.
Yes, technology is far and away the biggest friend to the homeowner when it comes to ease and cost effectiveness.
Cannot thank you enough for popping in here.
Yeah, hey, listen, it's always a pleasure. If you have an interest in the generator, you need to be thinking about it as soon as you can. Not only are deliveries now being pushed out,
Yeah.
As well as the towns are inundated with permits from people putting generator sets in, so those departments are getting backlogged as well.
631-567, don't hesitate, 567-2700, check it out online, PowerProGenerators.com. Johnson Avenue there, close, Bohemia, check it out, no excuses. It has become a life-saving tool, and I don't say that lightly. Can't thank you enough. We'll see you soon, all right?
Thanks, Jay, appreciate it.
There you go. And we want to thank Frank, also Dr. Brian Roth, Body and Spine, Dr. Louis Event.